Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
How's it going?
I'm Chris,
I'm Mike.
And I'm Nick.
and this is our presentation on what motivates us and why. The person we chose to do our presentation on is Arnold Schwarzenegger, so let's get started. This is a picture of Arnold in modern day, so it's looking great. So a little background information on Arnold. He was born in Thal, Austria, July 30th, 1947. At 15, Arnold began weight training. His parents and peers thought he was silly for working out all the time. It's very unorthodox in Austria at that time. There wasn't equipment for him to work out, so he had to rely on squats, push-ups, etc. So Arnold was determined to get out of Austria, unlike other children his age who were expected to follow in their parents' path. Next slide, please. So his goal was to leave Austria for opportunity's sake. So he just wanted a different life. He wanted to be a world champion bodybuilder and a movie star like Reg Park. So Reg Park was his initial inspiration and the biggest inspiration for him to get out of Austria. Everyone made fun of him for wanting this, including his parents. Most of his drill sergeants in the military would do so. It made life very hard for him. He ignored the no's and followed his dreams regardless of what his peers were saying. In 1985, his father made him join the Austrian army as a tank driver. Obviously, this wasn't what Arnold wanted, so even though he was in the military, he would still do what he had to do for them, but he would also work for his goals, being a bodybuilder and movie star at the same time. So I'm going to give you to Nick, and here he is.
So the main person who really inspired Arnold and kind of gave him that fire to move on was Reg Park. And he originally saw this magazine cover when he was 15, and ever since then he just kind of wanted to follow in Reg's footsteps. Reg Park was originally known as Reg the Leg. He's basically a huge legend of his time. He was a professional bodybuilder and an actor at the time. He won Mr. Universe 9 times and was only the second man in history to bench press 500 pounds, which is quite a lot. It was the magazine that sparked Arnold's basically kind of dead set mind to really move forward and to chase that American dream and really move on. So next we're going to show you a piece of the documentary that we found on Arnold and a very inspirational piece.
I was brought up very strict in a little village where there was nothing. My father was a police officer. He wanted me to go to the military and marry Heidi or Gretel with braids and to be happy ever after. In Austria, kids were conditioned to follow parents' path. But unlike other kids around me, I was very determined that I have to get out of there. And then one day, I saw the cover of a magazine of Reg Park. And it says how Mr. Universe became Hercules. I opened up this magazine and I read through it, and there was the whole plan laid out.
Damals, wie das eben war, Bodybuilding in dem Sinn hat es ja eigentlich nicht gegeben. Und wir Jungs haben damals immer gesagt, geh Arnold, wenn's träumst, leg dich nieder. Von den Eltern aus, das war ja eigentlich nicht sehr erwünscht.
My father, he said, this is an embarrassment to me and was stomping all over me. So in 1965, at the age of 18, he got me set up with his pals from the military to become a tank driver. But I was talking about becoming the most muscular man in the world. The problem was, how do I now go and train every day in a military base? I said to myself, okay, here's the goal, and whatever it takes to get there, I will do. So I was doing my daily work, cleaning the guns and going to the shooting range, marching 20 miles a day and going around up hills with weapons, running at 5 in the morning with heavy combat boots and all of this stuff. And when everyone just almost drops dead at night and is totally exhausted, I worked out 3 hours and got up early in the morning again to do my sit-ups and my push-ups and my chin-ups. There was a clear conflict, a dilemma, because the lifting was not a traditional sport for them. They didn't like the idea. They didn't even have the equipment. I had to go and figure out every way possible. The dips between chairs, over the bar, across 2 chairs, into upside down rowing. Everyone would say this is the wrong direction that I'm going, or I'm in a dream world, and I'm useless. But whatever it was, I said, I'm going to break through that. No matter what it takes, I needed to reach that goal, that vision that I had of being a world champion. 5 or 6 weeks after, all of a sudden I get the invitation to go to Stuttgart to the Junior Mr. Europe Championship. Here's an international competition, and if I really wanted to start making a big splash, that competition in Stuttgart was the way to go. A year later, I couldn't have ended because if you get past 18, then you're not allowed to compete anymore. So I said, oh my God, I'm going to get out of here to go to this competition. I'm going through basic training. And if I leave, the consequences were severe.
Ich war Sergeant Major zu der Zeit, wo der Arnold Schwarzenegger bei uns einen Dienst verrichtet hat,
Die
Vizeleutnant.
Leute, die Bunker ausgefasst haben, sind ganz einfach Freunde geblieben.
Vielleicht Ausgangssperre für mehrere Tage oder mehrere Wochen.
I was lying in bed and I was questioning myself. Do you really want that, Arnold, that they put me in jail? What does that mean about me? I had my doubts. In the meantime, time was running out and the bodybuilding competition was approaching very quickly. This caused me sleepless nights. I asked myself, Arnold, what is it about you that is so different? Why are you the only one that sees it so clearly, the score, going to America, winning the Mr. Universe contest, and getting into movies and making millions of dollars? No one else talks about this around here. Is it real? Is it just a crazy fantasy? But, wait a minute, Rich Park did it. That it's possible. Arnold.
So after watching the video, we started making some connections. We immediately thought of the Oprah video that we had seen in a class a few weeks back. And the connection we made was that both Oprah and Arnold both shared this sort of vision of the future where the reason it was laid out was because they were different. Somehow they had been chosen. Why was Arnold thinking differently than his friends? Why did he continue even though they sort of badgered him and said, stop doing this, this is wrong. It's these reasons why they thought they were, somehow special. You can go to the next slide. So Arnold continued on past, his movie career to something quite extraordinary, which was politics. Nobody would think that a man from Austria with an accent like that and having done, dozens of violent movies would be, sort of like the green hippie California governor. His career went on. He even married a Kennedy, which is like American royalty. So he's done quite well for himself with this attitude he has towards life. Next slide there, Chris. So what we learned is that, you can't let people get in your way. If he had listened to all his friends, then, he wouldn't have been this far. If you have a goal, chase it, believe it yourself, and do anything.